Okay, hi, it's Richmond, coming back at you. Got another lens review. This lens, it's like I keep saying that, the 55, the 28, this 35 millimeter 3.5 SMC Pentax-K, but it actually doesn't have any markings on it, was so hard to get. This one, I spent almost 3 months trying to purchase this lens, trying to find this lens. And shout out to my boy, I think it was Matt. He really hooked me up. Bless his heart. I was able to get a couple of K1000s with this deal, but man, was it a hard lens to get. Holy smokes. Holy Toledo. It was very hard to get. But I am extremely happy I was able to get it. So we're going to take a look at this lens for a budget lens review. So first off, let's thank God for the ability to take these amazing photos. If it wasn't for God, we wouldn't be able to take any of these amazing photos, and which we like to do. So next we're going to talk about the affordability of this lens, the accessibility of this lens, the build quality, and the versatility of this lens. And hopefully by the end of this you'll be able to decide whether or not you want to use this K-mount lens for your camera system. The reason why we do these K-mounts is because pretty much the entire line of Pentax lenses uses the K-mount system. So all you have to do is buy an adapter for your camera body or your camera system to be able to use all of these different lenses, which are hundreds of lenses that are made for the K-mount system. And it is the most budget-friendly mount out there so far that I've seen to give you the best value of glass and build quality for the cheapest price. And that's why we do this, because I want every beginning photographer to be able to dive into this and get the lenses they need without having to spend thousands of dollars. Granted, they may not have all the cool features, but they'll be able to do exactly what some of those more expensive lenses can do. And that's why I do this, because it's a budget lens review. So you will see that I'm going to be a little bit more straight and narrow, on the cuff, on the nose, on when it comes to whether or not this is going to be a good budget lens for you as a beginning photographer or somebody that is getting into these K-mounts, instead of more so going on along the lines where I started branching off into saying whether or not this is a lens to get just as an experienced photographer. So let's get into it. First thing I'm going to talk about is the affordability of this lens right here. This is an extremely difficult lens to find, and when you do find it, you're going to find it for over $100, period. I have not found an additional copy on anything that I've researched that puts this lens under $100. It doesn't matter what the state of this lens is, doesn't matter anything. This is a $100 lens plus. You will see it for $200. You'll see it for much more than that in a lot of different cases, and for that reason alone, I give this a 5. It is not crazy expensive, but unfortunately for a lot of, not unfortunately, but it seems like you can say, if I have the K-mount, this lens right here, brand new, this DA lens right here, which is an exceptional quality lens. I really like the way the photos look in this lens. Very 3D, very poppy, fantastic lens. This cost me like 120 bucks. Brand new. This lens is more expensive than that. So, and you get a smaller aperture with that one. That one's faster. That's a 2.4. This is a 3.5. So that's just something to think about. But the benefit to this is it fits on. It can be used with any camera body system. So that's something to think about. So for that reason alone, I'm going to give it a 5 because there are other lenses the exact same focal range that you can use that are less expensive. But that doesn't mean this is a bad lens. So next, let's go into accessibility. Can a beginner photographer pick this up, or somebody that's barely getting to manual, and use this lens? Absolutely. These prime lenses, like I've said many times before, with the SMCs, the focus throw is super easy. It's edge-to-edge clearness almost every time. Stick it on 5.6 and you'll be able to get a great shot. Just go stop it down, stop it up, 120 to 250 on the shutter speed, and you will get fantastic photos. Nice and crisp, beautiful photos. I did play around with a lot of the shutter speed on this. I took a lot of photos at a 15th of a second on the shutter speed, and I got some really good effects, but usually I shoot from 120 to 250. So that is an 8 for this one, super easy to use. Let's go to the build quality. The build quality is a 9. Again, it's an SMC around this era. Zero dust inside the lens. The aperture blades have zero oil on them. Everything was tip top. I cleaned it up a little bit and that was it. Quality glass is on the inside and it works extremely well. Everything works on this lens. Everything is super smooth, no issues. It is not dust proof, it is not waterproof, but it does a great job at preventing dust from getting in it. So for that, it is a 9. And it's super lightweight, which is super nice even though it's a metal body. So next, let's go to the versatility of this lens. It is a 35mm, so that is the closest to true to what you can see view, as some people like to say. On an ASPC, it's a 52mm, I believe, which still is like extremely versatile. So this is a super versatile lens to be using on the 35mm range or the 52mm range. So for that being said, I would give it an 8. It's going to be fantastic for street photography. It's going to be fantastic for portraits. It's going to be fantastic for landscape photography. Nature photography, it's going to suffer a little bit. You can't take wildlife photography necessarily with this lens. Macro photography is going to be somewhat decent with this lens. It's not necessarily it's almost as high on ASPC as to what you want, but you throw on a 2x teleconverter on full frame and it's right there where you want it for macro photography. So that's something to think about. So all in all, for this lens, I give it a 7.5. Not bad. Now let's talk about whether or not I would recommend this lens for your kit if you are a beginner photographer. And as you probably already know, I'm going to say no. I do not recommend this for your kit. I think if you have a full frame camera or an ASPC camera or a micro four thirds camera, there's other lenses you can get for much cheaper. Like I've said with the 28 mini wide is a super good lens. You can get that for your micro four thirds and you can get equivalent focal length. You can get the 50mm, the SMC Pentax-A, and use that on your ASPC and get a pretty, granted you have to step back a little bit, but you get a pretty decent focal range. Or you can go with the 28mm from mini wide from Sigma, and it's a great lens. You can even go with the 28mm SMC Pentax-M 2.8 and still get fantastic photos without having to pay the ridiculous price. If you have a K-mount system, you can get the DA lens. Like as a beginner photographer, I don't recommend it. As an experienced photographer, somebody that has their niches and knows what they're doing, my goodness, this lens is amazing. This is such an awesome lens. It is, I am telling you, it was just so easy to use. It was so much fun using this lens. Oh my gosh, I have it on ASPC. I can't wait to try it on full frame. It was a breeze. It was so much fun. I had a lot of fun using my 35 DA lens. That was easy to use, but man, the color rendering on this is almost like it's so nostalgic. It almost makes me feel like I'm, it makes me feel like I'm using a film camera, like without compromising the quality of any of the photos that I'm using. The great thing about the DA lenses is I do get a ton of this 3D pop, but for some reason everything just seems so natural when I'm using this lens. I love this lens for that. It is so gorgeous, and it's just a fun lens to use. It has a very unique glass on it, and I had a breeze. I was overjoyed using this lens, so I would highly recommend it if this is the focal range you like. It is definitely worth the $100 to $200 to pay for this lens. It is worth it if you can find it. I know I didn't skip out when I bought this lens, and I don't think you should either. It was 100% worth the price. It was worth it. Even though, like I said, I think you 100% can get away with the DA. I would love to pick up the FA version of this lens, but I think that's like $300. So having that good middle ground is good, and I do love this. I cannot wait to use it on full frame camera because I think it will look amazing. So with that being said, I have all these amazing pictures that are going to be featured at the end of this video, completely unedited. Again, I do have tons of lenses I would love to give away to you guys. So please help me get to 1,000 subscribers so I can start giving away these lenses. And then please like, subscribe, and comment. And again, God bless. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that helps you out. and I'll see you guys later.